Okay.
Hey, Lee, you realize, there is not a new budget.
Right.
All right, we are live.
All right. Thank you. Let's take advantage of Ron being here right now. Item 4 on the agenda, the maintenance budget. Was budgeted last year at $20,000 and has been reinstituted as last year's budget is being carried into this new fiscal year, which started July 1. I've listed the expenditures on the agenda. And the main point is, we have spent almost everything under the maintenance budget already. Number 2, of the $20,000, biggest expenditure was 13.
Lee, I'm getting a real bad echo from you.
You get a bad echo?
Yeah.
How about
Is
now?
anybody else here? Is anybody else hearing that?
Yes.
I hear the echo, but I can understand him.
I'll try to speak closer to the mic. In any case, we're trying to look at what happened with the maintenance budget. Just taking out 2 trees cost over $13,000. Okay. We spent a little over $2,000 on watering in this dry period from July 1st to almost right now. And there was a carryover invoice from Greenscape, unspecified tree work, and some money for mulching. And all added up to we spent $18,705. There's only $1,295 left in the maintenance budget.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So, first of all, we're going to need to request more money from the new council when they're seated in January. And secondly, removals are costing a lot of money. Actually, our watering was not that big, really, considering we got through that dry period. But certainly we need more money. I was looking for Ron to have any comment. You can enlighten us a little bit, Ron. Any recommendations you have?
I don't really know what to tell you. We had a really bad year this year with trees coming down. I'm assuming it's because of the drought last year, and wind and stuff earlier this year. The 2 trees that you're talking about, there were 13,000 total. Those were monster trees. Matter of fact, both of them were high risk.
Right.
And the biggest one was $7,000. That was the one at the corner of Fox Harbor and Hunting Harbor. Is that right? That big dead ash.
Yes,
That was
city land, right?
That was a high risk $7,000 monster. So.
And we probably can anticipate the upcoming year or two having more trees die because of the drought or decline. Unfortunately, we're going to see a lot of impacts from the dry weather this summer and fall. And particularly if we go into the winter being so dry, which is not a good thing. Hopefully we will get some rain or maybe some snow now. I don't know.
Bite your tongue.
I'm not looking forward to the S word.
This is a family show. Watch your language.
I agree. Sorry to bring it up.
At my garden club I'm a member of, at the last meeting, it was talked about a disease that's affected a bunch of trees. In fact, one person who lives in Prospect had to get hers removed. I might not be pronounced right. Is it verticillium wilt?
There is a verticillium wilt. It's not overly common, though. It's not like something that's going to spread from their yard to your yard, unless you're neighbors.
Okay.
You see it a lot. You see it occasionally in maple trees. It's not something you see real often, though, typically.
Yeah, I think that's what brought down a lilac tree I had. Sure looked like the symptoms were what that disease has.
Interesting.
Well, should we approve the minutes? Because
Yes, we're done talking about maintenance and Ron has to leave.
I'll pop in and out. I've just got about 5 things going on right now.
That's just understand, Ron. We appreciate your comments and your help here.
All right, thanks, sir.
Thank you.
So we'll go to approval of the minutes. Linda distributed them last night.
I approve them.
Second.
Okay.
Second.
I had one question. In the minutes, there was a statement that Andrea, you recommended taking out one spruce, and I was recalling there were 2 trees.
There are 2 trees. I was just responding to Linda's question about which tree was it at Covered Bridge and Hunting Creek. The
So
second
there's a
one is
second
at
tree.
Chestnut, is it in the entrance median, remember, on Chestnut Hill Drive? In the estates of Hunting Creek.
And what type of tree is that?
A spruce? A
The
blue
spruce
spruce?
also.
Yes, sir.
So could we amend the minutes to include that tree also as needing removal?
Let me bring up, I saw where Herb was going to check on the right of way on that logic. Is since I didn't do it, I'm having my memory lost. Did I agree to that?
I wrote it down, whatever.
You
Okay,
got it now.
You didn't dream it up? Okay. All right.
And I don't know that there's an answer on that situation at this point and whether we need to pursue that further or if a code ordinance will be looking at the issue when we get to that.
Yeah, but I didn't mean to get away from the minutes. Sorry. I mean, yeah, let's keep on the minutes. I'd second with that. Okay, I guess you got to go back to Connie's approval.
Okay. I approve the minutes from
As
last.
amended. Huh?
With the change, with the
As
add,
amended
Oh,
on the
yeah,
2
yeah.
spruce trees.
Yeah.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, the minutes are approved as amended. I will talk a little bit about the bush problem. That's where the entangled holly is. It's at the corner of Fox Harbor and Gunpowder, where you're going to check the right of way, Herb. I know that this house has been subject to review by the Ordinance Appeal Board because of apparent dilapidated condition of part of the house. And so we know that our code enforcement officer has looked at that house, but I don't think that they had any action on a entangled bush issue. That's just my comment.
Okay.
Would you happen to have an address of that house?
I could turn it up, but I don't have it right here in front of me, but it's right at the corner of.
Yeah, but for me, check.
Gunpowder. And I believe the address is actually a Gunpowder address.
Would you happen to know the owner's name? But when I check Logic, I want to make sure I got the right one.
No, I don't know right now, no.
Okay. Yeah. I'll ride by there and get an address.
Okay. Doesn't seem like the mayor is here to give us an update on the city situation. So we'll go to consultants update. Andrew, what do you have for us?
Well, I sent you all the confirmation from Abrams that I had ordered the 2 trees that you requested, Lee.
Yes.
The tree for that we looked at with Linda Wardell and her husband, the location in Putney for the red maple, the 2-inch red point red maple, and then the Chinese elm that we're going to replace the sweet gum that was lost in Cowley Park. So those trees have been ordered. That total was $261. No, that's just for the trees
For the trees, right?
by themselves. So I have no idea when those trees will be dug. It could be even into, it'll probably, I would guess it might be after Thanksgiving or early December, but I don't know. They need to get a couple of inches of rain to be able to dig more trees, and that doesn't seem to be in the forecast at the moment. So we're just gonna have to wait a little while to get them. But I can let you know when they become available, and then we could schedule Perry and Perez to plant them.
Plant them, right. That's great, Andrea. And Linda Wardell is on our meeting here.
Right.
She's sitting in on it, right, so that.
Yeah, I
So-
appreciate the time that Andrea spent with my husband and me. And we think we found a really nice location, not far from the information kiosk in the meadow area of Putney Pond and Woodlands. And it will also be an easy area for the watering equipment to get there.
Right.
I'm sure it may need to be watered next spring, but
Yeah.
Thank-
No problem. The only other thing I had was some of you may have noticed over in Little Honey Creek Park that LG&E did come back and remove those 2 trees that we had asked them to remove, that they had damaged when they took down the big oak a couple months ago. So that's been done. I noticed there's a little firewood at the base of one of them. They don't take away their logs, but I'm sure Ron or somebody will probably be able to, that won't be an issue.
Right, to use that firewood up.
The only other thing I noticed this week was that unfortunately, the Foster holly that was planted on the right side of Hunting Creek Drive as you exit to 42 looks like we may lose it due to the drought. It was planted, I don't know, 3 or 4 years ago, maybe. So it wasn't one on the newest watering list, but unfortunately, we can't water all the trees that we've ever planted. So the Forestation Board may want to look at, I thought it was a great location for one. Maybe look at replacing that in the spring. I don't think I'd replace it this fall.
We'll see what happens with it, yes.
Right,
That's on the exit side of Honey Creek Drive.
right.
Right.
What kind of tree was that?
It's a
Is that-
Foster holly.
Okay.
And there's a red dot near it we planted that doesn't look great, but it's hanging in. So we'll just have to see. But the holly's kind of dead in the middle of it. So it's probably need to be replaced, I would guess. At some point. So I think that's all I have at the moment.
Okay. Thank you. Moving on the agenda, the next item is the Arborfest review comments on.
Let's go. Hey, Lee, let's go back to the budget.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
I mean, you were asking Ron some things.
Yes.
I think we have enough knowledge that we should send the new elected mayor a note of where we stand on that, and that the history has been we need, if we're going to take trees down that need to be removed, there needs to be additional monies put in the future budget, just so we're down on record, making them aware that it's only one. I don't think today we can vote on the tree removal with only having basically $1,300. So.
Yes.
So
And we don't have money to remove any significant tree right now.
but I think we
We
need to
don't even have enough money to do more than one water.
No, but if we have a tree that Andrea determines is a hazard to the community, I think we still need to be in a position to cite it and go to council and look at whatever contingency funds might be available if it's really dangerous.
Yeah.
Okay. I
And
agree
the
with
other
that.
thing is there may be storm damage to come in over the winter months. You
Mm-hmm.
have trees that are not in the greatest of shape, just in the edges of the wooded areas and things. And then if we would have snowfall or some heavy weather condition, you know, we need to be prepared to be able to remove trees, I think. Or the city does, for sure.
Mike, do you think it's a good idea to send whoever the elected mayor is
Mm-hmm.
that notice, put them on record?
Yes.
I'm in total agreement. That's why I put this on here. The only question is how much we might ask for, since basically $18,000 was spent in one quarter.
Well,
And
it's not that so much. It's whether it's in one quarter or the year. I mean, we know 20,000 didn't cut it. Okay.
right.
So if we say we need another 15,000, we know all we're doing is asking. You know, they're the ones who make a decision.
Yes.
And we hope we don't need it.
Right.
I mean, we're not going to take trees out unless it gets approved. You know.
Mm-hmm.
Right. Those are all city trees, of course, we're talking about city-owned trees.
Mm-hmm.
If there's hazardous trees on private property, that becomes an expense of the property owner.
And the two trees that were already removed for a total of $13,000 were really, really unusually large. That's not
Yes.
something we deal with every day or every year even. Just FYI.
Yeah, but this has been a really tough. You know, it's been a really tough drought period. So I think
It's extremely bad.
I think we're going to see some effect.
I think we will, for sure.
So we better
Okay.
have more money because we'll have to take out other trees, you know, maybe big ones too. So let's ask for a whole lot.
Okay, Connie, we'll do that. That's
Okay, Connie, name the number, Connie.
How about $500,000?
Well, get their attention.
Yeah, well, they can only come down.
Mhm.
You win
some for
You
raises.
win, Connie.
Why don't we just ask for half again as much?
Hey,
as-
can I reword that? I don't want to hear Connie's suggestion.
Yeah. Oh, Linda, don't put it in the minutes, please.
I hate to tell you, all this is being recorded. So.
You can say Herb said it. She's got a smile like she's not going to do it. Oh no.
She got me on that one. Okay, let's go to number 5. I like it one better.
okay, we will ask for more money. I'm gonna bring it up actually even in the November, board report to
Mhm.
council. And by that time, we'll actually know who the next mayor is and who's on the new council.
Mhm.
And that'll also be helpful. But we'll go on to the next item after we note that Sylvia, you're here, that's great. So we have every board member present at this moment. That's great. The next item I had on the agenda was the Arbor Fest review. And I'm looking for comments and recommendations for the next one.
I thought it was fantastic.
I know that there was a reason that we didn't have an arborist there, but people were disappointed that we
Yes.
didn't have anyone available to answer questions. And I don't know what you can do about that in the future, but you know, it was just other obligations and illness that kept someone from being there.
So
Yeah,
Matt,
it was-
Matt Sullivan couldn't attend, Lee?
No, he couldn't attend.
That's a
He
shame.
sent me an email that morning, said he was sick.
Oh, that's a shame.
Did
And,
anyone else
and I-
notice?
last year he was fantastic and did a great job.
He did.
We really didn't need more than one arborist there, but it would have been great if it had been able to come. But next year, we may have to ask, not only Matt, who said he would come next year again, but maybe, someone else, another arborist from another, tree service company like Limwalker or Bob Ray, to make sure we have at least one person there.
And Bridget Abernathy's position may be filled at the state level, so perhaps there could be someone available from that resource.
Yes, yes. We asked her this year. She got a promotion, but she didn't have a new person to take her old job.
Did anyone else notice that Ron Cutcliffe sent the wrong list of trees out in the Prospect newsletter? That really threw me because, you know, at the last minute, I thought I was going to have to make up a new tree list. And people came asking for, you know, those trees, and we just had to tell them, you know, you didn't have those.
And we actually got one species of trees that wasn't on even the final list.
Yeah.
What was it?
We got a Sweet Bay magnolia.
We didn't get a red bud.
That's odd.
I think the magnolias were substituted by the grower.
Oh, I hadn't heard about that. She
Yeah.
didn't tell me that.
Yeah, we had flyers for all the other trees except the magnolias, and
Right.
I got a lot of people asking me because I told my neighbors we would include flyers, and so they were like, "Where are the flyers?" And I said we had flyers for every other tree except the magnolia.
Yeah.
So,
That was the only one we were short on, actually.
Is it too late to ask our great creator of the description and the drawings of the trees to do a Sweet Bay magnolia that?
Oh, sure, I'll do it. I'll do it. Where shall I put them?
Give them to
Um,
Sylvia. Email them Sylvia.
that'd
we
be great. Yeah.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you so much. I'll do it right as soon as we finish this.
Connie,
might
I
check-
think we've had Sweet Bay before. You may
We
have
have.
an inventory.
That's true. We have had them before.
You might check our list too. Who else got a Sweet Bay?
Linda, you have that list of people,
I
what
don't
they
have it
took?
right in front of me, but I do have the sign-up sheets. Yes, I did save those. So I
Yeah.
can get those to whomever.
Well, maybe just for the Sweet Bays, to Sylvia.
Yeah. That'd be great.
Okay,
Now-
I can do that.
The other question I had was, did we order too many trees? I thought we ordered 50. Oh,
We ordered 45.
45.
That's
okay,
a
because
lot less than in the past.
yeah, but we did have quite a few. When I got there, I want to say we had about 15 left or 12, something like that.
At the end of the official time, which was noon, we probably had around 15 trees, but two individuals came back. I stayed on there for another 40 minutes or so, but two individuals came back and asked me if they could take more trees. I said, certainly, we're gonna plant them, and they did. So I wrote a note. I think that when we were done, there were maybe 7 or 8 left untaken.
I was at City Hall yesterday, or maybe, no, it wasn't yesterday, last Friday. And I asked Ron how many trees were still available, and he said they were all taken.
Yes, they were
That's
taken.
good.
We left them, and then we left them for Ron to, I guess, figure out how to dispose of them. And the very next day, he said they'd all been taken. But I was just wondering if it matters cost-wise at all, if we should even reduce further the number of trees we're distributing. I know we've done a whole lot in the past, but at 45 trees and having 15 left, 12 or whatever, I'm wondering if maybe we should just cut it off at 40. Is that too,
Well,
people don't want the responsibility of planting and babysitting a tree. So, babysitting a tree.
I don't think there were as many people coming this year, and I'm not sure why. I mean, it was a beautiful day. We've had larger groups come when the weather was very unpleasant. So I
Yeah.
don't know if there were other activities going on throughout the city that, were more appealing or in conflict, but we definitely did not have the traffic we've had some years.
Well, also our Arborfest sign disappeared,
Right.
and whether people, the
What?
road by, they saw the book sale, might have said, well, I guess.
Yeah, that's correct.
No, it didn't disappear. Lee told me to take it down.
Right, I asked, Tommy to take it down, because of, he was saying, Arborfest, next weekend.
What we should have done
That
is
weekend.
take off the next and just leave the Saturday on there.
Arborfest. That's a very sound suggestion. Can you just order a new sign, or what
Well,
would?
I don't know. We don't want to spend any more money, do we?
Yes,
That wasn't much money, I don't
it's
think.
only, it's only our environment. It's just our environment. Yeah.
Yeah. And I'm thinking perhaps people are not coming back because they are not taking good care of the trees and they're dying maybe. And so they are having a hard time going to fetch more trees and killing them, which is why I'm thinking that advertising the presence of an arborist or some detailed write-up as to how to care for those trees to sustain them would be good.
Well, we used to tell them that when they came to pick them up, we would give them just verbal instructions.
Hmm.
You know,
I think every species had information on tree care, every one of those handouts
right.
had information on caring for that specific.
I just think there's a lot of different things that go on every Saturday morning, and a lot of people are torn in
That's
different
true.
directions. And people, as you know, Sylvia, people with young children are doing sports events, or all
Yeah,
age children,
yeah,
different
that's
sports events and games, and a lot of the teams are traveling. And I mean, there's just a lot
That's-
of, especially on a nice weekend like that, there's a lot going on.
Yeah, we had
Conflicts.
beautiful weather. So
It also could be that we've been giving away trees for a number of years, and maybe people are running out of places to put them. I have no room in my yard to put another tree. I don't have a very large yard, and we have several trees, and they're doing well, and I love them, but I'd love to get one of those trees that the city is giving away, but I don't have a place. So
Well, and how, maybe it's harder for new residents to find out about Arborfest too. I mean, they could see the sign in front of City Hall, but not know what that really is.
What's that, man?
I don't know. I guess there was an article in the newsletter, though, about it.
was, yeah.
There was a newsletter article, and also, just before the actual event, maybe a week before, Ron sent out an e-blast, which goes to everybody in the city who signed up for the newsletter, which is maybe 700 or 800 homes. He sent out a specific e-blast with the information about the Arborfest, when it would be, type of tree, et cetera, et cetera.
Did the
Well,
people
now
who
that-
did the people who attended go down into take their with kids? Were there people with kids that attended that went over to the park or to the playground or look around or?
Well, there were a few children that showed up, not many.
Uh-huh.
the playground's not open.
Right. I just didn't know if they go over and look at it or walk around at all. Or...
Not too much.
Okay.
So, we could reduce the number of trees, although the economics are not that favorable, because, when we reduce the number of trees, we're gonna start charging for the delivery, $200 when it's paid.
That's right. And she really actually gave you a deal on that, because it would have been, really should have been a lot higher. But I'm not sure you're gonna be able to order much less than that, because this is a wholesale. This is not a
Right.
retailer we're dealing
Okay.
with. We're dealing with a wholesale nursery, and she actually goes down to Tennessee and picks these trees up, and I'm pretty sure she's not going to go down for like 30 trees. And now she could combine. She was ever since you placed your order and reduced the number this year. She was looking for somebody to go in with you, so she could go down and like pick up 100 trees at a time. And I think she had trouble finding somebody to match the load, so she ended up just going down and getting Prospect's trees, but I'm not sure she's gonna do that every year, especially if we whittle down the number, less than 40 or 45 or something.
But do we
At that
maybe
point-
want to think in terms of a late,
Well, we could give it a rest for a year, let
yeah.
our funds build up again.
It did seem like the people that did come to get the trees were really conscientious and very interested. And to me, seemed like the type that would realize they got to take care of it.
Mhm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, this is a
But,
particularly hard year.
that
to
was
some-
my
To some
was
extent. I mean,
read.
you could be the best gardener ever and still have lost some trees this summer if you didn't water them, so. Just enough or at all, certainly.
Well, next year, the Little Hunting Creek Park will be open. And I don't know if the trees could be moved there to make the whole event more visible, but we might be able to have more outdoor stuff going on
Mhm.
in the park.
Mm-hmm.
So when people drive by, they see a sign that says Arborfest and they see a bunch of people and kids playing on the playground, and it might be more attractive to come in and see what's going on.
That's a good point.
Mm-hmm.
So, we could, keep the event, keep the number of trees. Get a better sign, not that the sign was bad, but a way of indicating exactly which Saturday the Arborfest event was on. And possibly there could be a little flyer a month in advance in the entryway of the city hall, so that people who come in from the library or for some other reason might pick up the flyer and say, here's Arborfest. What is that? Okay.
Hey, Lee,
Yes, sir.
how about
Herb, you're cutting out.
Mm-hmm.
We
He's
can't
gone.
hear you.
Oh,
Oh, he's gone.
let me stop my video. Okay. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes.
Okay. I thought I saw the internet.
we're still having
Yeah.
trouble, Herb.
Okay. Well, I'll quit. Let me not frustrate everybody by not hearing half. So
Any other comments on Arborfest from anybody else? No. We can go to the next agenda item, which is the oak removal on 5604 Timber Ridge. Linda, you sent the official request for remediation to Ron on that. Did you hear me, Linda?
No, there was not a remediation. That is the one that the owner was concerned about dieback on the back of the tree, and she wanted to remove it and
Oh,
plant.
yes, that's right, yeah, excuse me, sorry,
Different
yeah,
case.
you're right. That's exactly what that is. I wrote a letter and sent it under, Forestation Board overhead, letterhead to her saying that we had granted approval for removal of that tree, and also inviting the woman and her husband to participate in this meeting but so far as I know, that hasn't happened. She's not on the list of viewers here.
Well, that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, good that you wrote her a letter. That should.
I wrote her a letter because we had voted to allow them to take that tree out.
She was also committed to replanting trees, so that was, I think, part of the rationale.
Yeah, that was part of it, exactly. And when I met with her myself, she said they were gonna put in 2 trees, so I was hoping they would either show up at Harbor Fest to get some trees or come in and talk to us at this meeting. We could talk about the canopy tree program that's coming. I think maybe the only action item would be when we get our canopy tree program for spring to send those homeowners a note asking them to participate in this if they haven't already put in a couple trees.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So I'll put that down as an action item. You can put that in the minutes, Linda, please.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, the next item was Bradford pears in the landings. And there are a lot of Bradford pears there, which we know, and we know that they're declining and they have a tendency to fail and to break off. I got the name and phone number of the HOA contact for the landings from Prospect Police Department Secretary. I called that individual twice and left phone message, 2 calls about a week apart. I had no response whatsoever. That's where that stands.
Well, maybe you just try again down the road. I mean,
Yes.
you could have been just out of town and not called you back, I guess.
I left a pretty clear message, but
Did you? Okay.
I can try again. Yes. Okay. There's not much more to be said about that issue. The next one is the remove tree. That's the one I got confused with. At the 7402 Wycliffe Drive. And I was asking Linda if you sent a remediation, not wouldn't be a remediation request, but really a meeting invite to those property owners to participate in this meeting, talk about why they took the tree down, and to see if we could arrange for them to put a new tree in.
I have not done anything on that project.
Could you do that then?
Okay, I will have to follow up. Connie, I think you had the name that goes with that address.
Yes,
Linda,
yes, I'll send it to
I think
you.
you have it also,
Okay,
Linda. I
thank
sent
you.
it out before. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't reach their phone number. I actually would tried to call them, but they have an unlisted phone number.
Oh.
But we can ask the city to send a letter and
Right,
give them
we
a
should
phone
ask-
number to contact us.
Right. I sent out for comment a draft letter that could be sent to those people. I
Okay,
think you have it in your email. It might need a little improvement, but it has the name and addresses.
okay, good.
Yeah. If you don't find it, let me know and I'll resend it.
I will.
Okay. Okay, the next item on the list, Linda, was you got an email request for help with hazardous trees, but from Miss Purnell, Pennell. And you responded to let us know your address so our arborists and board members can go look at the trees. But as far as I know, you got no response, yes?
No, I have not heard any more about what the problem is or exactly where it is.
Yes.
I just know it's somewhere along 42. So I can send her another email just saying we're anxious to hear more and we will help you if we can.
Okay. If you could do that, that'd be good.
Okay.
The next item, on the agenda is the canopy tree program for the spring. I think we said we wanted to do that. We actually have budget money to finance it. We just need to get a list of recommended trees for spring planting and publicize it in the next city newsletter.
Well, how early do you want to do that, Lee? Because if you do it too early, when would be the next newsletter? You don't want to do it in December. Is the December newsletter out yet, or does it still?
No, we were thinking we would like to start promoting that it would be available in the spring and that somebody might give a tree as a Christmas gift.
Oh, I see. Mhm.
And they could make a reservation with the understanding that all commitments would need to be made. I think you had told us the end of February for planting, maybe in late March, early April.
Right. I mean, I'm not gonna be able to get us, I mean, they're not finished with their fall digging season, so it'd be hard to get it. I mean, I can give you an approximate list. I mean,
Well, we could mention those as potential trees subject to
you could say
change.
trees such as,
Right.
I mean, well, how many trees do you want to offer? Like 5 or 6 or more? Or?
You're talking about variety of trees.
Right, yes.
I would say absolutely no more than 6, and possibly as few as 4. Whatever you think would be good trees for spring planting.
Yeah. Well, I
Maybe
bet you, I'll
3 or
send you a
4.
list. I'll send. Well, but the other thing is people have some people have different size yards, so it might be
Mhm.
good to give them a little bit of a, choice.
Herb did,
I'll send you a list of 6 and then you can whittle it down or use the list of 6 or whatever you want to do. How's that?
I think we had 6 last time, yes.
Okay.
Okay. And Herb got the city attorney to say that we could let the people plant the trees anywhere on their property.
Not, but you want to have them plant it in the front, don't you? I mean, it is a
Well,
canopy
we
program.
were requiring it in the front or up to now. But, there's some yards that's not very suitable for front yard planting, and maybe would work in the back. So our thinking was not to specify where they had to plant the tree, just that, the trees would be available.
Well,
I don't know
there's a couple issues with that. One is I wouldn't call it a canopy tree program anymore if you're going to let people plant it in the backyard. I don't think. And number 2, I thought one of the goals was to increase the canopy along the city streets. But
yes, definitely.
But if you want to allow them to plant in the backyard, it's going to probably change the planting price. Because it's a further distance from the street that, some of those yards are huge, like the estates or wherever. And it's not as easy as just them pulling up along the street and planting it in the front yard. So we may have to have 2 planting prices or something. I don't know. I've never been involved with the project where, everybody does different things, but so I haven't run into that before. But it probably will change the planting price for trees that go in a backyard, I would guess. Just FYI, not that that rules it out for you guys. I'm just mentioning it.
Well, it's a good point.
Yeah, very much so.
It just depends on what you
I
want
think
to
we
do.
should stick with the front yard idea.
Well, I don't know if I can't, sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, heard we were having a little trouble, but please speak up.
I'm in here twice, so it's gonna be an echo, so. I'll check.
Well, I'll send you the list of 6 trees. I mean, I don't know if you want to make a decision at this meeting, what you want to do, but specifically.
I think you brought up a very good point that we probably do need to discuss a little further.
Yes, I agree. Any other comments on the canopy program for the spring? The next item would be the Tree City filing, which we need to do by the end of December. Mainly, that's an accumulation of costs that we spent on various projects. And I asked Andrew how many trees we planted, and the Arbor Day works on a calendar year basis, so that'd be how many trees did we plant in this year, 2022?
And I gave you that number. Did you get
Yeah,
it?
it was like 10, yes,
Yeah, I think it was 10. Yeah.
yes, yes.
The other
But
thing
I-
Steve, that I remember is all of the volunteers involved with Forestation need to submit the hours they
Yes,
spent
that's,
trees.
that's a
Board
good
members,
idea.
but you have people, Linda Wardell, your time helping us would certainly count as well.
That's right. And not only at the Arbor Fest, but in selecting sites for memorial trees, not only for your family, but for the young man that his tree is there right at the entrance to Ayers Creek Park, and maybe other things you've done to put in how many hours. So we're asking each board member and Linda and anyone else who's helped us to report their volunteer hours.
So I think the memorial tree for Jeff or Jake Stover or whatever his name was, I think that was last November, so that would not be part of
Yeah,
this.
we didn't get
You just
that.
need January through
Yeah,
the end.
Mhm.
right. He has that total, I think, now.
Okay. Thanks.
Um, eh, all the members of Linda can send their hours to me by email. But I was thinking of having a small subcommittee meeting some point to go over these numbers. Maybe in early December. Any comment on that? I'm gonna be out of town a good bit between Thanksgiving and the 5th of December, and then I have cataract surgery almost right after that, but could meet maybe the afternoon of the 7th. Else would participate, maybe Linda, maybe Connie. I don't have, probably don't need 5 people, but we only need to announce this as a special meeting.
I won't be able to do it if you do it on the 7th.
We will not be able to do it.
Why my screen's so messed up.
Well, our next, regular meeting of the board would be on the 14th of December. And we could discuss it then.
That's a Wednesday, Herb. I mean, Lee.
You mean the 13th?
The
No,
13th?
Mhm.
I'm looking at the calendar, that's true. It's, oh yeah, it's the 13th, yeah. It's a Tuesday, the 13th, absolutely. We could discuss it at that time, but we would need to have the hours and any other things I'll try to solicit from the accountant so we can review it all at that particular meeting. How's that sound?
Sounds good.
Okay.
Let's plan on that. Please send me your hours. I'll ask our good bookkeeper to give us cost or expenditure information on a calendar year basis. She's been very helpful and cooperative in responding to such questions.
Good.
Okay. So we'll plan on that. The next item was LG&E grant project. Linda, the two Lindas worked on it. Did you have a meeting?
Yes, we had a meeting last week and Tina Bevan came with Linda. She has good experience in submitting this kind of grant application. So we talked a little bit about big picture items, and Linda's suggestion was a portion of the Orange Trail that would be accessible for maintenance. And I believe Tina was going to follow up with Andrea to schedule a meeting to actually look at the location, and then we could get back together and start putting together the information we would need to finalize the plan, which would be submitted in February. Linda, what else would you add to that?
I think that's a very good summary. I'm not sure if Tina has had the opportunity to try to contact Andrea. We just provided your email address, so I don't know if she's tried to contact you or not.
Yeah, I would suggest we try to do that after Thanksgiving, maybe the first week or so in December. It'd be helpful if you could attend that meeting, Linda. I was thinking if we had a few people that attended, we could even, if we have trees we want to remove, we could maybe start marking them and get a count of them while we're walking. So we can agree on what needs to come out, because some are dead, obviously.
The other thing that I mentioned is that part of this proposal, we really will need MSD or whoever to make sure they mark the sewer line to be sure that we don't plan to put trees in where we shouldn't be doing that. So we do have to, and I'm not sure, maybe Ron knows who the right person is to contact about that, but I suspect it might be MSD
Yeah.
themselves.
Do you think that should be done before we look at it? So that, or
I don't know.
yeah, I mean, we know it veers off a little bit. I mean,
Right.
in there, which isn't certainly would have to be done before any planting is done. I don't know. Maybe we should ask Ron about that.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I think he's probably not on this meeting right now.
Right.
But yeah, I think that's right. We should coordinate with Ron and see if they can get it marked maybe before we get together after Thanksgiving.
Yeah.
Okay.
That would give us a little time and them a little time.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
If Ron contacted them or whoever contacts them from the city.
Right.
I don't know how hard it is to get them to mark it. And if we give them certain parameters, maybe they don't have to mark the entire trail.
Right. Correct me if I'm wrong, Andrea, but it seems to me when we were out there with Lee and my husband looking at a location for the memorial tree, I think you mentioned that maybe the first part of the project would be not to go beyond the hill, the top of the hill, that first hill.
Yeah, that's what I was suggesting, I think.
Which is where the first swinging bench is.
Right. I mean, it was just a suggestion, but I thought maybe that would be a good place to, it could be part one or whatever.
I see Ron is back on the meeting. We might be able to ask him.
Should I back out of the room slowly right now, or?
Mhm.
Better.
Well, if we're gonna talk about you, we might as well talk right to your face.
That's true.
The question, Ron, is, you and I had talked about this once before. If we are going to apply for an LG&E grant to help fund planting trees along the Orange Trail,
Mhm.
we talked about the first thing that needs to happen probably is to have MSD come back out and mark where the sewer line is to be sure we plant the trees. Stay away from places we should not plant trees.
Well, we just need to have it marked. That has nothing to do with MSD.
Okay, so
That'd be a marking company.
okay, so that's easy.
Really, there's a lot of trees planted back there that should not have been planted where they're at.
Right.
If they ever have to dig that pipe up, those trees are going to die because they're going to rip the root balls out of them. We may want to consider some other spots other than the Orange Trail. If we do plant along the Orange Trail, we definitely need to re-examine some of the species that were put in.
Oh, yeah.
Because
we've-
planting the same thing back. What's the old saying? The definition of insanity.
Right, no, absolutely.
Uh,
No bald cypress.
Yeah.
Beavers like them pretty well.
Yeah, they did. But they're pretty resilient. I noticed a lot of them that got chewed down are coming back.
They look like little bushes.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
do.
They do.
Well, Ron,
I'm
do
gonna
you
plug my computer in. I'll be right back.
a suggestion on anywhere in the parks that would be attractive and accessible for outside maintenance to help us?
I would like to start doing something with the field that the um, retaining pond used to be in, the field to the right as you go down the concrete path. I would kind of look at the area as for like a pollinator garden or something along that line. Trees that can handle being submerged over in that area might be nice. I mean,
That
we can't.
soil is pretty, didn't you tell me that soil is pretty bad though from the,
It's going to be the same all the way down the Orange Trail. It's all clay. I mean,
are you talking about when you come down from the parking lot down the cement, the walkway? Before you go
the field where we put the
near where we put those
swamp
oaks?
oaks. Is that
Mhm.
Yeah.
What was that before? Did you tell me they filled that in with something that made me think it wasn't a, or
Oh, it was a retaining pond. They filled it in with clay, just like everything else down there. So, I mean, it's
but
good Kentucky red clay.
I don't know how many trees we want to put in there just with, we could put some, but with the
Yeah.
flooding concerns, because I mean, they're
We
pretty
could
major.
probably find a few areas along the Orange Trail, but the majority of them, either they're already going to be some of the trees that
Excuse me.
we got put in there are going to be 40-foot trees when they're fully grown. And I mean, we're basically making a forest in a forest. If you get where I'm going with this,
Well, there's
they're,
a lot that
they're
is
not
growing back naturally, that,
Uh-huh.
which is good in some ways.
Let's meet down there one day and just walk through it, and that would be the best, I think. See if we can come up with a plan.
Okay.
I've already, I mean, I totally agree. We don't want to overplant. I didn't have a lot to do with how many trees went in what areas down there. And you're right, it was kind of overplanted. And there are trees that need to come out, which could be part of a grant so that you guys don't have to fool with that, or we don't just leave them in, you know. I don't know, Linda, do you have other ideas of other parks that occur to you? Or other parts of that park?
Yeah, the problem is, I mean, the rest of the park's pretty well wooded, except for the utility easement where we can't plant anything. And it's got to be someplace you can get, when there's a drought, can get the watering trucks in. So that meadow is a good shot. But the other trails, the blue trails, the green, red, they don't really lend themselves to that. And unless we want to put more trees in the meadow area of Putney Pond, between the parking circle and the woodland trails. I'm
What
not
about, just throwing this out there, what about planting flowering understory trees along some of the trails?
Well, how you gonna get them watered?
Well, I mean, you're gonna run into that problem anywhere you plant them in the park.
Well, we didn't think we would if we planted them along the the Orange Trail as much.
Well, here's something to consider too. Next spring, hopefully, the Orange Trail is not gonna be accessible for probably a month and a half anyway,
Because
Uh,
of flooding or because of what?
because hopefully there'll be a bridge going in.
Oh,
Really-
bridge, that's right. I forgot about the bridge.
Yeah. The other thing is, I don't know, is there a plan to do any more planting in Cowley Park? And could
I
that be,
don't know that there's much room. I mean, there might be.
There's not.
Mhm.
I was suggesting, I don't know what Linda and the other people on your committee have discussed. This should be a fall planning project, not a spring planning project. So.
yeah, if we apply to LG&E in the spring, I wonder if we have until fall to plant, or would we need, I know they take applications at various times during the year. We might not want to apply in February if we really don't want to plant until next fall.
And I think that's an option. I think the schedule is February, I think July, and then October that you can apply.
Right.
Well, is there a time
could
when
do
we'd
it.
be more likely to get the application approved?
I don't know. I don't think we
I don't
know,
know.
do we? Well, if you applied in July, that seems like plenty of time for a fall, and that would give everybody some more time to give it some thought where particular areas could be. It doesn't even have to be all in one park. I mean, it could just
Right.
be a couple areas. I mean, to Ron's point, maybe there are, some areas that would make sense still in near the Orange Trail or whatever, and not a lot, but maybe some. And then put a few in Putney and, maybe by then we'll think of some other areas, I mean, we don't want to put trees where we don't need them, that's for sure.
Right. Well, the one thing I will say about, especially along the Blue Trail, in Harrods Creek Park, we, yeah, every time we have a storm, more trees come down, and maybe there are some opportunities for understory trees there. The problem is we won't be able to water them.
Yeah. And I think LG&E is don't they require a 3-year maintenance?
Yes, there's a
plan?
maintenance
So I
requirement.
don't think they'll approve. I'm pretty sure they're not going to approve areas like that can't be watered. I don't know for a fact, but that's what my understanding is. I haven't looked at the information recently.
They definitely require a maintenance plan, and that would include watering, I would think. Frankly, in the
It
park,
does,
say.
and there can only be a certain percentage of the grant go towards maintenance. Most of it has to be the trees.
Well, that program is a cost sharing program, I believe, 50/50, isn't it? The city has to put up half in some form.
I think it was 50/50, and the grant amounts vary.
So our 50% or some fraction of that could be in contract watering.
Yeah,
Does it have to be in a park?
Well, I was wondering that too, because I know over the years, the Forestation Board has been planting trees, city-owned trees when ones have had to be removed or whatever.
Because I can think of one area right now off the top of my head that's irrigated. I know I totally against what you guys believe in, but uh, uh, the landings on the right hand side we've
Yeah.
removed several trees out of there. There's some shrubs that I'm probably going to take out this fall that look horrible, which is going to leave that whole area wide open. And
It's very shaded in that area.
it's very shaded, but
And so we could use some flower, some shade loving trees, red buds or whatever, some other trees.
That sounds
Uh,
great.
And I think there's just areas in different parts of your city that maybe we could come up with a,
Box Harbor Drive needs a couple. There are some spots that are irrigated.
Right, well, that's great, actually. And that could be, an easy part of the maintenance plan if it's already irrigated.
Uh-huh.
Well,
well, why
Ron,
don't we all think about it and then we can, re, put our ideas together and at some point we can get together and look at some of these spots, but maybe it
Maybe a
doesn't need to
mixture,
be,
a mixture of the two. I mean,
maybe it doesn't need to be right this minute, but
Right.
at some point where it makes sense, maybe in the early spring or something, we
mhm.
start working on it or whatever. So we don't get late and then you don't get it in and get in time to do a fall planning or get it approved for a fall planning.
Well, I think this all sounds good. I can get back to Tina and I don't know if she'll still be, I think she may still be interested in being involved in the process, but tell her we aren't as eager to get right out there and walk the properties, that we want to think about some other areas and maybe get together in the spring.
Okay.
Okay.
Right.
Well, there's some good suggestions, particularly, your ideas, Ron, I think are feasible ones.
Yeah, Ron, if you've got a wish list of potential areas that are public lands, that would give us a great start on ideas.
okay, yeah, I can come up with a list.
Oh, that'd be great.
Thank you.
Perfect.
Any other discussion about, the Granding project?
I don't think so.
Is there any other subject not on the agenda that should be talked about regarding trees? Okay. The next meeting is December 13th, as it's stated on the agenda. I'm asking if the board would like to meet in person rather than by Zoom.
I prefer Zoom.
I
It works
prefer
out better
Zoom
for
too.
me.
Yeah, I prefer Zoom.
Well, if we do it by Zoom, we won't have to worry about that S word that you all are so afraid of.
I mean, this seems to be is this working for most people or no?
Yeah, this is great.
It seems to work.
When the new mayor comes in, that probably, I mean, if he's going to be part of the meetings, maybe it would work for him too. We'll have to see, I guess.
Good point.
Well, this way we get Ron too.
Sometimes, yeah.
That's definitely a plus.
Yeah, actually, it works fine for me. So,
All righty. So we'll stick with Zoom. We'll stick with the 13th, which is our regular meeting date, second Tuesday. We'll stick with 2 o'clock, which is our normal time. There's no
Sounds
further discussion about any topic. Somebody should move to adjourn.
Okay, I move to adjourn.
Second. Oh.
All in favor?
I.
Thanks to everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good day.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, Linda Wardell, for